than the 6% annual gain back in January. Joining us for more insight is Francis Katzen, a founder of the Katzen team over at Douglas Elliman Realty. Now, the firm is out with the new reports on real estate here in Manhattan, and my dirty secret is every morning I wake up and I look at Zillow and I look at Street Easy and I look at all the stuff that's coming up. If you were to describe what Manhattan real estate is doing right now, what's a word you would use?
A contradiction.
Okay.
In every way.
Explain.
We have, for rental luxury, we are up on a price per square foot basis for the fourth time in 5 months, yet our median price is down 4.5% with a slowdown on lease signing. Our sales market is basically a wholesale market. We have amazing capitulation and opportunity, and the buyers who are needing that financing are basically locked out because they don't want to give up what they have, which is on average 2.5% to 3.5%. So there's this constant flux, and we're not following the 10-year Treasury yield like we did in December when it dipped below 4% and the 30-year went down to basically 6.5 or 6.25 from 8. Now we're stuck. We're sort of at a disconnect. So it's a very strange time for real estate.
Why does that happen with the 30-year and the 10-year?
I suspect we track it because it's one of the U.S. Treasuries that we value. But also, I think we're also a little bit frightened, maybe the lenders are, to trust Powell's prediction on the Fed. To be honest, tomorrow's going to be a big day.
Do you think, though, that that will clear it up? I mean, there is some expectation that he might at least telegraph maybe a slower path for those rate cuts that everyone had priced in. Is that going to matter for the real estate market, or do they want something a little bit more definitive?
I think it's going to slow down a lot. I think if it doesn't happen, I think we're going to have this constant sort of growth of divide. But I think if there's a little bit of movement, I think it's going to spur a massive jump for people who want to get out of paying sugar-high rents and actually get back into equity and take advantage of a softer, capitulated sales market.
I am curious, in the luxury space, for those folks who are renting and maybe are looking to buy here, what is the impediment if they have the financial resources to do so, even if it's at a 7% rate or whatever the average is right now? Is there not sort of a sales pitch to those folks that, okay, you can lock it in at 7, maybe the Fed will cut rates and you can refinance in 2, 5 years or whenever? Is that not a sales pitch?
That is the sales pitch.
Okay.
You can always refinance.
Wow. Do you have any job openings?
But you can always refinance.
But is that really always refinance? Take it now, take the hit now, and you can refinance later. People buy that?
Yeah, because people are priced out typically in the New York market. It's the most expensive market in the U.S. So there's an opportunity to get in much more aggressively now than you might have when the rates go down, the pricing goes up, and the demand goes in. You have less negotiability.
And I would say this is not all that unique. We went through something when I bought my first house. This was kind of right before the housing crisis. I mean, you were paying, 5 to 6% to get in the door here.
Yep.
But that was the sales pitch. The sales pitch was these rates aren't going to stay at 5, 6% forever. They will go down, and they did. And over the the course of 10, 12 years, I think I refinanced 3 times down to 3%.
Which is insane, right?
Yeah.
So I think that people buyers in particular, are having to make peace with the fact that they may never get the 3.5% and 2.75% rates, and therefore people are trying to get their head back to 4.5 to 5.6 to 6. Right now, we're on a 30-year, we're almost at 7.2 to. We're oscillating between 6 and 7.8%.
Right. So take the hit now.
That's
because
right.
the housing price will be quote unquote lower.
Yes.
Rather than wait until rates go down, the housing price goes up.
Correct.
How many people are buying with cash?
63.4%.
So that is insane.
I know.
So the ultra rich can no problem paying for cash with this. And then we're talking about a different kind of bottom for those that can't afford it.
Well, that's the whole struggle. We were hoping that people could get in and take opportunity, and that's been the big struggle. 26% of these finance deals are getting parents to help them because the rate is so high they can't make the numbers work.
We keep hearing about how it's the new home, the existing home sales are the problem, right? No one's putting their stuff on the market, but there's tons of supply when it comes to actual new home sales. Is that actually true in Manhattan?
Not really. We're down 20.1% on the inventory, which is what is holding some level of pricing if the seller prices appropriately. If they're overpriced, there's not a lot of takers.
Is there any historical parallel to this? Because I don't see how you get that inventory level back up if, as you say, everyone's afraid to leave, whatever 2-3% mortgage rate they have and to swap that out for 7%. Why would you do that? in theory, at some point, people are going to be forced to move, whether it's deaths of certain people or job relocations, family situations changes. But is that going to be enough to change the inventory situation?
I think eventually everybody has a shelter need, and I think ultimately that's going to be the driver. The big issue is where does it land in terms of how you hold value. Some sellers are having to come to terms with losing in order to take the bigger opportunity because the upside is so much better.
What about for those folks who have the optionality for multiple homes? And we seem to be talking about people that are going to have one home, one primary residence, and that's just it. As you know, there's a whole cohort of people out there that they want multiple properties. Are they still active in the market?
Very.
Yeah.
Very active.
Are they dominating the market?
Yes,
yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
It's a pied-à-terre consumer. The three biggest places to make value right now is Miami, LA, and New York.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's great to talk to you, Frances. I think we have to leave it there. Frances Katzen, founder of the Katzen team over at Douglas Elliman Realty here. A closer look at the real estate market as we continue our coverage here on The Close.